He demanded that Brian apologize for the killing, and when Brian said, "I'm sorry," the dead Iraqi man wouldn't listen. He said, "Brian, you need to die." Caleb read the article slowly, scrunched it in a ball, and threw it at me. "This is the same thing that visited me." He pointed his finger at it. "Everything," he said, from how it's talking to him, to how his friends think he's talking to himself, to how he thinks he needs to die. I've heard the story thousands of times, and it's no different than mine. Caleb switched the chew from one side of his mouth to the other. He looked to the side and waved to the waitress. "I know this is going to sound crazy to you," he said, leaning forward, getting close to my face, "but this isn't PTSD. So he doesn't think it's PTSD. He thinks it's a giant 6'5" demon called the Destroyer that followed him back from Afghanistan, which he receives deliverance to have removed from him. So I followed him down to Portal, Georgia. But before I went there, I wanted to talk to Brian Rand's sister. Brian Rand's story is really the story that I was fascinated by before I met Caleb. And I'm just going to read a few pages about my experience spending time with his sister in North Carolina. And one thing to know is that they talked every night over Yahoo chat, her, Brian, and the soldiers. Brian said he was happy in Iraq on 2 occasions. The first was on May 1st, 2003, when April was home watching the news of President George W. Bush on the USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier with the big sign behind him that read "Mission Accomplished." "You'll never guess what," she said. "The war is over. I'm watching it right now." Brian called the soldiers into his room. April asked what they were looking forward to most when they got home. One guy said barbecue chips, another said sleeping, another said pillows. Then the soldiers started thanking April for her voice. They said they were never going to forget the conversations, and when they got home they were going to get together and have a cookout. They were talking and laughing. And then a soldier said, "But April, it doesn't feel like the war is over." "Yeah, well, maybe they just haven't told us yet," said another soldier. "Well, if the president announced it," Brian said, "it must be true." "Yeah, if Bush says it's over," April said, "it's gotta be over, guys." "I don't know," the soldier said. "It doesn't seem over." "No, really, I'm watching it on CNN right now." "April," Brian said, "if the war is over, then why are we still here?" The second happy moment involved a chicken. The soldiers, sick of mess hall food, decided to go to the market in Baghdad. They weren't supposed to be out, but they went anyway. They were ducking behind grain sacks and goats until Brian located a fat orange chicken, and they crawled back with it, maneuvering around stalls and cars, disappearing into crowds of people. When a military Humvee passed, Brian ducked. "If we hide," his buddy said, dragging Brian from his crouched position, "they're going to think we're fucking Al-Qaeda and shoot us." The soldiers made it back, and they went into Brian's room, and they shut the door, and they put the chicken on the table. And they were just sitting there in the barracks with this chicken, and none of the boys knew what to do. They didn't have anything to make that chicken into a meal. "We're gonna have to go on another fucking mission," Brian said. "We're gonna have to break into the mess hall and get some spices and steal some shit." So one soldier kept lookout while Brian and the others went to snoop. They smuggled barbecue sauce, seasoning, a bottle of mustard, a spatula, and they took it outside and they cooked this chicken in the sun on an old grill. Other soldiers followed the smell and joined them with sticky red mouths, glistening fingers, and the soldiers kept coming. The pieces were cut smaller and smaller so that every soldier could have a bite. "Wouldn't it be crazy," one guy said, "if the Iraqis shoved a bomb in this chicken and we all just died?" The day the police found Brian's body at the Cumberland Center Pavilion, North Carolina, April's mother called to tell her the news of her brother's death. "Oh, Mom," April said. "It's okay, I just talked to him actually. I should go because he might be trying to call. I told him to call me in the morning." "April, what time did you talk to him?" April told her around 1 in the morning, and her mother said no, they found the body around 7. "April, we knew this was going to happen. I have the suicide note." The mother carried it around in her purse, and she never has let April read it. "I didn't know," April said. "No, you knew." "I did everything I could." "No, you knew." The night before, Brian called at 12:46 in the morning, and April was already in bed with her husband. Ever since Brian left for Iraq, she'd slept with her cell phone underneath her pillow, just in case. April said, "Hello?" and Brian said, "Goodbye." April said, "Hello?" and Brian said, "April, I'm telling you goodbye. I knew you'd be mad if I didn't say goodbye. Goodbye, April. Goodbye, goodbye." April asked where he was going. Brian wouldn't stop saying goodbye. He said it over and over again, dozens of goodbyes. April remembers about 30 of them, all in different voices, as if Brian were saying goodbye for all the others too. April just sat there on the phone while the voices roared in her ear. Goodbye, 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 goodbye. "Brian," April said, "please stop it." "Goodbye," he said. "Goodbye." "No, really, where are you going?" "I'm going away," he said. He said his wife was getting an abortion, and really the last reason for him to be here was gone. "You told me I'd enjoy being a dad, April. Remember?" "No, she can't get an abortion because she's in her 3rd trimester, so just go to bed, okay? Sleep in your Jeep and no one will bother you. Call me in the morning." And that's when Brian shot himself in the head. "Hello, Brian? You dropped your phone." April waited. "Yeah, okay, I'll just hang on a second." Her husband rolled over. "Is everything okay?" he asked. April turned to him. "Oh yeah, Brian's fine. He said he'd call me in the morning."